mate, I saw in the news in the Queensland Country Life a couple of weeks ago, Clubby Station mustering at night time with the drones.
Yeah, so I've actually been fortunate enough to be out there and have seen this on the station at night, and it's an eye opener. Like, it is unreal watching the drones. They flick off the lights, the infrared camera comes on, and you can actually see the beast clear as day.
Who would have thought that you'd be transitioning to mustering at night time? If anyone said that, I reckon 50 years ago, that'd be laughing.
Oh, 100%. But it brings on that low stress cattle handling, which is what the station is pushing for. So
Well,
I
it's not
guess,
only that, they were saying in there that, you can see like everything through the heat, like within 1,000 acres.
yeah, 100% you can. And not only that, stuff hiding in bushes or dropped in the creek or something, like you can see it all. So
Yeah, it's crazy even seeing some of them images of it, all the cattle in there in a little holding pen, just like the heat coming off their manure and so forth. So you imagine when you're sort of mustering and that what they can pick up, where they can find things and see them from you'd see them a lot clearer than you would even during the daytime up in, just say a chopper, for instance.
oh, 100%. It all comes back to that thermal imaging
Mm.
and it's growing ridiculously amount these days. And you can't go past it the way, like even from a hunting point of view, like you, you hit a mob of pigs, you see that mob dart off and you always see two or three run back through the thermal imaging, like the way that it's going.
And it's so clear too, like how you can see them moving through like sort of thicker country, like whether it's lantana or thick scrub, and that like if they just say they're darting off into it, you can being so clear, being a white image, you can see that light even like through the twigs and that. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. And lantana being like a warmer weed that it is, you can still see the beast through the heat from the plants and stuff from these weeds. So 100%, I reckon it's the way that everyone's going to eventually go because it comes down to it's a low cost. You fork out the money for the drone, but you got one fella sitting in a paddock at night. But
I think you could sort of get a cleaner muster as well, apart from picking up all the wildlife and that. Like I reckon you'd pick up a fair bit of that and having to go check it out. You're still going to need a crew on the ground as well. So, especially at night time, I think you get up to a few antics as well, a bit of mischief,
yeah,
bit of hunting at the same time, sneaking a couple beers maybe.
yeah. Well, I suppose during the day you're still going to need that crew that works your cows. You get them in a set of yards, old mate with his drone's not going to be able to draft them all.
You're not going to be able to land that drone and jump out and close the gate, are you?
Yeah, yeah, well, that's true too. Opening and shutting gates and whatnot behind you. So I guess it is still maybe a two-person job. You would hate to fall asleep behind the wheel or behind the controller of a drone at night. You'd definitely want to be wide awake and know what you're doing, because not only that, there's still a lot of obstacles like power lines across your paddocks. You got trees. If you're darting in close, like,
well, everyone that has a drone, usually that I've spoke to, they say that they've always got like 5 spare sets of propellers, because the propellers and that always are usually the first thing to break on a drone.
yeah, 100%. My drone, I've even got spare sets of propellers for that reason. Like, it's nothing to clip a tree if you're filming something. You're looking through a little camera at the end of the day. You're not actually looking at where the drone is and how it's flying and that. So
Yeah, it's funny how it sort of transitioned over the years. You look at all the other uses for drones in the crop spraying industry, and that like some of these drones I saw up at Emerald Ag Fest or whatever it was, Emerald Ag Show. There's some pretty decent sized drones there now. Just it started off with a little drone that people used to just for a bit of filming and that. Now
the way it's going to, you're able to go along your GPS. A lot of things are GPS these days, but there's a lot of less overspray with your drones because they can get lower to the crop, as where say your crop dusters that are 3 to 5 meters off the ground. Like they're still low to the ground, but with your drones you can get even lower, and it's less environmental impact with them.
yeah,
Like, there's no fuel and whatnot. Like, it's all electric
yeah,
as
that's
such.
right.
So, and you only need like one fella on the ground like topping up your chemicals or flying it and stuff. You don't need a heap of people there or someone running fuel to and from or something. An old mate that owns the drone can do it himself. He doesn't have to call a chopper in like for the mustering and crop spraying and that. You don't have to call a chopper in or a plane in to do something which is going to cost a lot of money at the end of the day.
It would probably save a lot of scraps too. There's a few, like there's very few, but there is a few that are organic, and you see them people that are spraying next door and that, and the old organic farmer, he starts stressing and blowing up and losing it. Like just watching that wind, if the wind picks up a little bit, not me crops.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? And
100%.
next minute just creates feud.
Which the old mate spraying or that's paying for the spraying to get done doesn't want his chemicals to go next door anyway, because at the end of the day, you're paying for it. You want that on your crop. You don't want to be sharing it to the old mate next door.
It's definitely not cheap. When I was a young fella, my pop, he actually used to work with them crop spraying planes and that. So it was awesome as a kid, you know, to go down to the airstrip and just chill there and watch these chemical planes. They're only like itty little, like one person planes. Like they're only small, but how they fly so low to the ground and then just shoot up, you know. It's crazy how the world sort of transitions into drones. I always say, you know, I would have liked to been like my great grandfather's era, that old school era, and how it's changing. And you reckon they would have been saying the same thing?
Most likely, like I guess it's a generational thing that's going to keep occurring. Like we're saying it, I'm sure they were saying it when they're kids. But like the way the world's going, I believe that the next generation's going to be like, oh shit, like imagine being around a dad's age. I believe that
And
in
it's
our
crazy. And your dad sitting there going, fuck, I wish I was back in these days, you know?
yeah, 100%. I strongly believe our generation is around with one of the best because we got to see the olden days and how everything's gone to how it is now, and we're not sitting there like being old as such and going, "Oh, I wonder how all that works." Like how
Yeah.
easier life is getting in certain ways. Like for the fact, I don't know, paying something on your phone is compared to, oh shit, I forgot to pay that bill. It's due tomorrow. Now I've got to trudge 3 days right into town. You know what I mean? Like off a ballpark thing. Like it's
Yeah, see, not me. I'm different. Like I would have maybe come. Yeah, I don't know. Look, I would have rather been in my great grandfather's era before the phones, before the technology. I think before most of the bullshit, to be honest. Like back before, you know, they barely had fridges and
mm,
that. Like how they would have lived then would have been, I think, harder but more simpler.